Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Aussie Starcraft, where we've been casting some of the greatest games from the Redbull Battlegrounds. This time playing on Frost. In the top right hand corner it is QuanticHyun, in the bottom right hand corner is our red Protoss player. It is Woongjin Star's SOS. So we'll be very familiar with SOS naturally from the WCS, looking absolutely unstoppable recently. Hyun, obviously a great Zerg player in his own right, so we are in for a great Zerg vs Protoss here on Frost. And pretty excited to see SOS play. It's not often that you actually see SOS replays in a pack, so naturally seeing him play at the Battlegrounds and knowing that that replay pack would become available, I was pretty excited to see him cast some games of SOS. So we'll see what these players decide to go for. If you can tell, I have cast a heck of a lot of StarCraft today, wanting to make sure we have lots of be good if I could speak English as a caster. Lots of content for you all to watch during the week, as I only get to cast a few days during the week, and my tongue getting a bit tired, but some of these games, just amazing games. Want to cast as many of them as I can and upload them over the course of the coming days. So hope you guys are enjoying them. Let us know what your favourite game's been in the comments down below. Love to know who your favourite was going into the tournament. We did have 8 players invited from around the globe. I know there's a lot of crowd favourites in there, people like SOS, Scarlet and others. Bomber always a favourite as well. Who did you guys have pegged to win the tournament? Were you batting for the eventual winner, or were you hoping one of the other players would come out on top? So let us know down below who your bet was to win the New York Battlegrounds when it took place earlier in the week. Alright, SOS is going to be doing a fairly standard gateway expand. If we check out QuanticHyun at the moment, he's got his expansion on the way. Did go pool first, so it gives him a few options for scouting out, getting a few early Zerglings on the field, and it does leave him in a position to be able to threaten and be aggressive a little bit earlier than if he'd thrown down the hatch first. So his Zerglings are going to chase away this drone, ain't going to be able to stop them from doing any sort of cheekiness at this third base. So yep, Hyun throws down his expansion there, and you see, unlike the cross-spawn game we had on Frost earlier, when your opponent's below or above you, it's fairly safe to expand to this location. Of course they can still do irritating things from the high ground, but it's a little bit less common than, for example, when you're versing Terran on cross-spawn. They can just park a siege tank or two right up on the high ground there. The SOS going to be starting his walling now. Got a Zealot here, but Hyun's going to be aware of the fact that this Nexus is underway. Will he see the Mothership Core pop out there? It is a bit of a different animation when it's summoning it, so SOS going to be getting that Mothership Core and a Stalker out. Hyun going to be very aware of what's going on, and he will see that Mothership Core now as he tries to get out. Can his Zerglings make it out? Oh no, unlucky Zergling turns into a pile of red gore there on the doorway of the Protoss base. A warning to all future Zerglings of what will befall them. And Hyun fairly content to macro up here on with his 2 bases. Queen's obviously going to be injecting lava, trying to get out as many units as he can. A few more Zerglings on the way though, which is a nice choice. I like the map control aspect that he's trying to get out and exploit. He's going to catch this sneaky little probe that's going to potentially be hiding proxy pylons. You can see SOS so diligent in... not SOS, sorry. See Hyun very diligent trying to find proxy pylons around the map. Any of those that you can find and remove are just a massive bonus. So I see that an Overlord's being picked off, and that is going to supply block SOS. Why do I keep getting these players back to front? That's going to supply block Hyun momentarily, but Hyun electing to do a bit of a Zergling. Oh, nope, not going to run by. The Stalker there is going to be able to force those away. SOS going for a Stargate. This is pretty uncommon in PvZ. You don't see the Oracle used very much, so I'm interested to see exactly what SOS has in store for us with this Oracle. You can see a lot of his gas on the way, but currently SOS is effectively playing on a single Stargate and a single gateway. So very curious what shenanigans SOS has in store for us. No anti-air except for this Queen on the way, so some nice micro. We'll see this Oracle get 3 kills already, 4, not bad, 5, 6, 7 kills on this Oracle. So will he be able to keep this alive? Second Queen going to get a few shots in, but this Oracle's going to make it out with 7 kills. Oh, no, not going to make it out. Almost being sandwiched. Oh, it is going to make it out on red health, so nice little harass there. 7 kills on the Oracle certainly makes it worth its while. I'm super curious as to when SOS is going to throw down some more production. He's got a robo, but I just don't know if Hyun decides to produce a swell of units here. I just don't know how much SOS is going to be able to produce to defend. He's got his 3rd base on the way, but 1 robo, 1 gateway and 1 Stargate is going to struggle to keep that alive. So we'll see if SOS can make this unitless Protoss build make it work. I'm very, very curious to see. Certainly not what you'd see out of most players, though. We do have this pylon going down. That's going to be the robotics bay. So we could well be seeing Colossi. And we have a single Void Ray on the field. I'm really curious as to what SOS is thinking at this point. Did he throw down the Void Ray to mind game Hyun? If he did, it's doing a great job, because you can see we've got the Hydralisk Den now on the way. A lot of gas being taken from Hyun. And if we see a big swell of Hydralisks, we know that SOS's mind game has worked perfectly. Because there is in fact no other units being produced out of this Stargate. The robotics bay almost finished up, and the robotics facility is going to be able to start producing Colossi. So this Oracle continuing to be a pain. Oh, getting a 9th kill and a 10th kill, so 10 kills on this Oracle. SOS being very cheeky. 6 Hydras now on the way, so I think it's safe to say that the mind game from SOS has worked. He's done a great job. There's 6 Hydras on the way, and these Hydralisks are going to come toe to toe with a Colossi or 2 when they finally make it across the map. So surprised to not see some of these production getting chrono boosted. SOS seeming very content to try and make do with the thinnest possible defense. This Void Ray going to get a few kills, and this expansion down here fairly well secured with a cannon behind these warp gates. A few Zealots warped in as well, should keep that expansion fairly safe for the time being. We have an Overseer that's gonna get a great look, and if we swap to Hyun's vision, we'll see what he's seeing. You can see he wants to get an idea of what is in play. Another 7 Hydralisks on the way. He's about to spot the support bay, and I think he's about to work out that he's... Oh no. Well, 2 more Stargates going down, so it looks like SOS just going back and forward with his tech choices. Looks like he's going to go for some sort of Colossi Void Ray weird blend. So certainly not something you see every day. Normally you see people go Colossi and then tech switch to Templar to kill the massed up Hydras, as they die so quick to storm. But looks like SOS will be trying some sort of Void Ray Colossi composition. So be really interesting to see how this works out. Certainly not something we see every day. Thermal Lance almost finished up, along with Protoss Armor level 1. Have Pathogen Glands on the way now for Hyun. Probably a response to seeing the double Stargate being thrown down. They know one of the best ways to kill them is going to be being able to fungal a tight group of Void Rays. It's got +2 weapons, +2 missile weapons on the way, along with Roach Speed and Groove Spine for the Hydras, give them a bit more attack range. And SOS is going to go in for this attack with only a couple of Colossi and a few Zealots. So a little bit interesting here. Can he get the engagement he wants? And indeed, he's got the Observer here, so he knows how many units Hyun has. Decides to fall back. He knows if he gets surrounded by the Zerglings and Hydralisks, it is going to be all over Red Rover. He's going to elect to wait until he's got just a few more Colossi on the way. Hyun actually deciding to go for Mutalisks, and I think that's a interesting choice. There are of course already Void Rays on the field. Void Rays not super effective against Mutalisks, but it's the speed with which SOS could produce mass Phoenix that really makes me wonder at why we're seeing these Mutalisks at all. Maybe it's for a bit of harassment. There's one Oracle still poking around from SOS. 16 kills on that Oracle. Can he get another one? No, these Queen's finally going to force it back into the corner. We see this, oh no, well, that Hero Oracle finally going down there. SOS going to use this moment to engage while Hyun's distracted dealing with the Oracles. Going to pick off a few Hydralisks there. And going to be able to get the Overseer as well. So this Protoss army, while small and densely packed, is extremely potent. Void Ray has always been a Protoss favourite. Oh, and see here we have the Mutalist doing a bit of harass. He has managed to kill a good deal of workers, starting to even it up now, going up to 12 workers killed. But as you can see, it's so easy for SOS to just start producing Phoenix. Every 40 seconds going to have a few Phoenix on the field. So I highly doubt that we'll see any more Mutalisks out of Hyun. Hyun instead electing to go for the Vipers, and the Vipers are a great choice. If you can pull those Colossi over, they are going to die exceptionally quickly. So we are going to be seeing the Roach Hydra Viper composition against SOS's Colossi Void Ray composition. Both these players can tend to take a few more bases. Of course, Hyun electing to hide this one in the corner, and we can see that SOS hasn't spotted that yet, so it could well come into play later in the game. Hyun's starting to move out now that he's got the Vipers, and where are the Vipers? They're starting to make their way down the army. He really doesn't want to engage until those Vipers are here and ready. Oh, gonna hallucinate a few Colossi, and that's a nice little choice there. Hopefully those Colossi can soak up a few of the Abducts. And they are the closest unit, so I think we will see them get pulled in. One Colossi just choosing to walk straight in there, but I think Hyun knows the game, instead choosing to try and focus down these Void Rays. Nice concave out of this Zerg Force, but so many of these Protoss units close to going down. Needs to take down these high cost Colossi. All the Void Rays almost dead already, so Hyun able to do surprising damage with this Roach Hydra Force, but most of the Colossi still in play. Hyun electing to produce 10 Corruptors now. These Corruptors are going to give him the DPS he needs to snipe these Colossi and Phoenix. The Phoenix aren't going to do a whole lot against Corruptors. Their armor just does a great job of soaking up Phoenix damage all day long. Indeed, we have two of the Phoenix, well, one of the Phoenix getting taken down. Second one, almost being picked off by that Spore Crawler. I was going to say it's the luckiest Phoenix pilot alive, but not really, to stop dead in front of all the Hydralisks. We have Hyun trying to mop up these pylons. Will he swing back? And no. SOS moving into position to defend this base. Has been an interesting sort of back and forth between these two players. Some compositions that we traditionally don't actually see a lot of. So Hyun going for some Broodlords, which is an interesting choice. Now that he's mopped up the Void Rays, he's decided that some Broodlords are the best way to engage this Protoss Deathball. Quite a lot of Colossi on the field at the moment. Few Corruptors still in play, but not a lot. And we have Hyun trying to get in position with these Broodlords to siege this fourth base. And these chasms make for a really interesting dynamic on Frost. You can blink back and forward across them. You can siege with things like Tempest and Broodlord. Make for a really interesting sort of engagement. The Broodlords seem to be, you know, almost coming back in favour lately. For a long time at the start of oh, nice fatty storms there landing on Hyun's Hydralisk. I think this Protoss Force is just going to have too much DPS here. The Broodlords here doing great damage, but unfortunately for Hyun there's just too much AoE. The ground army's being wiped out, and these Broodlords are going to get picked off by the Stalkers and the single Void Ray. Oh, 3 Void Rays, sorry, they weren't all hallucinated. This Broodlord's going to get picked off, and now we have SOS able to muscle his way forward. So Hyun being forced to fall back here, another Broodlord going down. It's pretty devastating loss for Hyun there, losing all of his gas heavy units, being forced to morph in a massive Banelings and Roaches. But I just feel like these 5 Colossi are just going to continue to get massive amounts of kill here. Hyun trying to get right on top of top of these Colossi and doing quite a good job for the most part. These Colossi starting to fall. They've got 20 odd kills each, 20, 15 and 12 kills. Hyun going for the kill on the Colossi. I know he needs to drop these down, but will there be anything left of his ground force by the time he's finished? Is Archon doing great damage as well, up to 18 kills of his, 17 kills of his own, and going to be able to snipe the third base of Hyun. But Hyun now hiding a second base on the other side of the map. Big Morphina Stalkers here. We do have 10 Hydras and 4 Roaches on the way. Can Hyun muster enough forces to force this Protoss army back? It is 122 supply to 150. So quite a substantial supply differential. If Hyun can establish and get these bases mining, he may be able to recover this, but losing this base does hurt a good deal for Hyun. This game moves into the mid game. We have what's effectively a 3 mining base Protoss to a almost 5 mining base, well 4 and a bit. This 5th base still not quite mining. A little bit of static defense going down now, just in case SOS is able to scout. He really wants to pick off this worker before he can make his way up and scout. Oh, proxy pylon almost going down. Oh, Zergling able to kill it in the nick of the time. Don't often see Zerglings with 2 kills. Taking out that proxy pylon's just saved Hyun a world of hurt. Have this force here from SOS, quite a threatening force here. Massive group of 2-1 blink stalkers. And Hyun really not able to engage this just yet. He needs to get his mine on the way. He does have 800 minerals and gas at the moment, so a bit surprised to not see him spending a few more of these. If we look at his units, he is up to 26 lava, so it's not that he's not spending it because he has no lava. I think he's just trying to get a feel for what the most effective tech switch would be at this point, electing to switch to the Mutalisks and start to throw down a lot of static D around his second base. I think we have him preparing for the base race here, throwing down massive static defense. He knows he has 2 hidden bases, and he's producing Mutalisks, so we might well see Hyun go for some sort of base race. Big Zealot counterattack moving out here. Not a lot of defense in this location, but we do have 3 Spore Crawlers almost finish up, and a big group of Stalkers moving for the second base for the natural expansion of Hyun. So what's Hyun going to do? I think he's going to catch and kill these Stalkers, though they will potentially be able to supply block Hyun if they're able to pick off a few of these Overlords. I think SOS has done the maths and he knows there's a hidden base somewhere, but these Zealots just unable to find it there. Oh, this the Greater Spire is about to go down, and what's going on with that animation? It looks frozen. Is that normal? Have I missed something? The Greater Spire being sniped there by the Stalkers. If you guys have any idea what... Oh, and this base about to go down to this group of charge lots that made its way around the edge of the map, and the base did get sniped. So I think SOS is shortly going to work out that there are hidden bases. He knows that he's sniped this base, and technically Hyun should not be mining at all, but we can see that Hyun's still got 2 bases mining, and his economy is doing just fine. Still got 1400, 1200, and his Mutalisks are moving around to do some damage to the main base of Hyun. We do have these Phoenix that are potentially able to do a bit of damage here, but unfortunately the main Zerg force is going to be threatening his expansion. So interesting little dynamic. We have Stalkers. Big blink forward is going to pick off a few of these units. Hyun going to be forced back here. Can't really afford to engage just yet. Is it a supply and a composition deficit at the moment? These Colossi and these High Templars could just eat apart this pure Hydra force. So he really wants to wait. Oh, he could pick off these Phoenix if he turns these Hydralisks apart, and he does. Oh, almost able to pick off a few of the Phoenix there. We have SOS gradually transitioning to sort of the Sky Toss strategy. We have a carrier on the way. I don't know how long it's been since we've seen a carrier in a pro game, but it's certainly been a while, particularly here on the channel. But we do in fact have carriers starting to come into play from SOS, so interesting choice here. I think SOS knows that the Hyun's Hydra's just walking through these storms. Two big storms here. Most of these Hydras taking significant damage. Hyun trying to take out some of these workers. Workers are going down. 19 workers killed. Hydralisk trying to snipe this base. Indeed, it will go down. That's a nice little pick up there, but what's going to happen with this when this Protoss army walks in? That's the real question. So can Hyun? No, Hyun's force is going to be picked apart right here. Phoenix doing a great job picking up some of these units as they try to retreat. It's 176 supply to 112, so Hyun able to disrupt SOS's income, dropping him to one mining base, but what does he have in the way of units to stop this? And I think the answer to that question is not a lot. We're going to need to see some units out of Hyun, and we're going to need to see them now. Have a lot of Corruptors coming out, but Corruptors aren't going to be able to deal with this many Phoenix and this many Void Rays and Stalkers, and Hyun GG's out of the game. So interesting game there out of Hyun and SOS. Hyun successfully hired 2 bases for most of the game, but SOS just able to do such a great job with his cost efficiency, and you can see there at the end of the game 23,000 resources lost from SOS to a mammoth 38,000 of Hyun. So SOS able to be clearly way more cost effective in those engagements, and that able to propel him through to the win. So sort of games we're used to out of SOS, just seeming so unstoppable in recent times. Did well in the WCS and doing well here again in the Redbull Battlegrounds. Hope you guys are enjoying the games. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Share them around with your friends on Facebook and Twitter. Let them know we're casting the Redbull Battlegrounds. This is one of the most current tournaments at the present time. Of course, we have DreamHack going on at the moment in, I believe it's Sweden or one of the Scandinavian countries, and the Redbull Battlegrounds that finished earlier in the week. So big week for major tournaments, and hopefully we'll have a lot of replays for you guys coming up over the coming weeks. So I hope you guys are enjoying your holiday seasons, and we'll catch you later this week at Aussie Starcraft.